high octane. The cool thing, sounds like everybody in here probably understands what octane is. Simple enough. A very simple way to describe it is our ability to resist detonation. We'll maybe just put it that way, or knock, and what you'll hear that terminology, knock, often. The clean burn function of this fuel is something that's really neat, and I've got some display pieces out here that we'll hand out just a little bit later that people can see. But the ethanol lets us create more power. We have less knock. It's the safe power function. This car that's seen right here, this is, were you the drag racer guy? Okay, got it. That's a 4,040 pound curb weight car that on an 18-inch wheel goes 825 and 181. It can run on standard high-level blend E85 from a gas pump and produce safely 1,500 to 1,600 horsepower on that, and a guy can just pull up and use it and have a good time. Those are some of the really big benefits there. The tuning window is something that we talk about on this safety and reliability. Ethanol has a very stable burn function to us. We can push farther on that fuel. We can not get into this knock situation. That comes back to this reliability idea. The engine has a wider operating range that it's happy to be in at that point. Did you say you guys use methanol? Was it?
Yeah,
or
race with people who use methanol.
Got it, right. So we have this ability to put these cars out on the track for people or in street vehicles that the operating range in which it's happy to run in is wider yet with ethanol, again increasing our reliability, our safety aspect to this. Cooling system is a really interesting thing. Everybody has one on their car. You drive around with it all the time. Inherently hot engine bay cars such as this, such as Lamborghini's mid-engine cars, we introduce ethanol into these vehicles, and all of a sudden your cooling system doesn't have to work as hard. Literally, the fuel being injected into the motor helps that engine temperature be reduced. Cooling system doesn't have to work as hard. For us, that's a really big benefit that, again, we're increasing that reliability and performance. MTBE is terminology that was banned. For those that might be familiar with the brand, Injector Dynamics is a aftermarket injector company that we will only use their fuel injectors in our builds, some of the finest quality stuff you can find. They out and out have to put notation on their product to say, do not use MTBE fuels with these injectors because it will literally swell the components inside. It can cause some oxidation functions internally on those components, and yet the scary part is how much MTBE is in normal fuels. In some of the very high octane, 118, 120 octane racing gasoline fuels, it's a high concentrate additive in there to bring that octane level up, and that ultimately causes damage to some of the components. So on the flip side, if we're talking about just going to E15 or E30 or something like that, yeah, Doug's right. There's actually some really good cleaning power involved in that fuel being used throughout the system. Again, some of these pieces that'll come around, you'll see it and kind of get that point across with that there. The important thing Doug hit on is modern day engine manufacturers, which is down in the end here. CAFE, everyone's heard of that. What companies are having to do to try to produce power high enough to meet people's desires, at the same time helping engine efficiency to achieve fuel mileage standards and such. It's funny, the technology going into engines is probably yesteryear racing technology filtering down to modern day driving vehicles, and yeah, the octane level is a really needed thing. Being able to have higher octane fuel available at the pump for everyone, which is very easily achievable by having higher ethanol content in the fuel, is only going to help the progression of automotive technology and let companies of the large manufacturers start to include even more of the modern day racing technology and make better cars for people, basically. So if we're limited by 87 octane as a kind of a normal thing that people are used to seeing, and everybody just goes to a gas pump and throws 87 in the car, then you're only going to go so far. Or engine size has to increase, or some of these things which are really being deterred by mandates in place about mileage restrictions and such. So that's a very interesting thing there.